This music is fire.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another 3D CAD esports tournament session. We are here on September 27th with the Elite 8, and what that means is that we've made it through our round of 16, and 4 of our competitors have fallen, and 4 more have fallen, leaving us with 8. Almost got my math wrong there. I just want to give us some quick shout outs here as we are getting warmed up and getting everybody into the live stream. I want to say welcome to Mr. Alex. Says, hail to tall Toby. Those of us who are about to design salute you. Oh, thank you, Mr. Alex. I appreciate that. And I want to say hello to Ricardo Jean, who we're going to see in action here in just a couple of minutes. To LCR Brick Tech, says hi everyone. To Just in Time CAD Cam, who we're going to see here in just a moment live and in person. To Heliosus Dese, says hello. Guys, let us know in the chat, where are you coming from? And let us know what CAD system you are using. X Area is here. Says, yo, what's up, X Area? Thanks for joining us. David is here today. Says, I made it. Hello, everyone. Hello, David. I'm glad you made it. Game Test is here. Hello. Amir Shea is here. O'Neill Mark says, yes, made it. I can't wait. Nice. And Poly Spectra is here and says, go. And Jesse Davis is here. Says, yo. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Like I said, let us know in the chat, where are you coming from? What are you using? Andres is here, says, I'm in Poland using Katia. Let's go. David says, I'm in Belgium using Inventor, SolidWorks, Fusion 360, and AutoCAD. Let's go. Represent New York. SolidWorks. Very nice. Guys, welcome. Aaron C is in the chat, says, what's good, everyone? What's up, my man? Thanks for joining us. Guys, I am very excited for today. It's a special day. I love when we get to the Elite 8. John says, good morning from Portland, Oregon, rocking Onshape. Let's go. Amir Shea, Israel, SolidWorks 2024. Stu 3D is here, says, hello, everyone from the UK. Nice. Haliosus says, I'm from Ethiopia, and I love SolidWorks. Very nice. Awesome. Dog is trying to bite your cursor on the TV. Nice. Very nice. I like that. That's what we like. We like that interaction with the pets. Hopefully, my dog will come down and hang out with us again today. He was here in the studio last week. Dom is here, says USA with SolidWorks. Let's go. And JD52WTF says, hi, I did some CAD. Nice. Awesome. It's been coming to the Too Tall Toby live streams for years, and he's doing some CAD now. That's what we like to see. All right, guys, well, let's get into it here. It is a very special day. It is a very special, exciting time. We are heading into the Elite 8. We saw some epic battles last week. Both of our battles went to 3 matches. Everyone was on their game. It was awesome. It was tight. And now we get to see the results of some of that. We get to see some of our Sweet 16 runners getting into it here, into the Elite 8. They've all been through the CAD tournament before. We've all been through the CAD tournament before. But I'll tell you something that we haven't had in the CAD tournament before is a very special celebrity co-commentator. Someone who is experienced in the world of YouTube, someone who makes a lot of amazing educational content. Guys, put a 1 in the chat to welcome none other than Fusion Phil Phil Brown is here in the chat with us. Welcome, Phil. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super happy to be here, guys.
Yeah.
I do have to say by default, though, yours truly, actually, at the end of the day, is a cam guy more than he is a CAD guy. I come from the background of machining more than I do actually CAD.
Yeah, I noticed that from a lot of your content. A lot of your content is very much like, I noticed a lot of your videos, you start out and you're like, guys, if you're interested in learning how to model this, I can do that, but I'm just going to jump right into creating the toolpaths. It's like the whole model is already there and ready to go. And so I like that. It's like a perfect handoff, you know, and it just goes to show that when you are creating geometry in 3D CAD, your job's not over. You know, you have to actually turn it into something in the real world. It has to go somewhere.
That's right. Nobody likes to just hold a paper print. You got to hold something in your hand.
Yes, I completely agree 1000%. That's what it's all about. So appreciate seeing all the ones in the chat. Everybody is here and excited to see you guys. If you don't know, Phil is the president of JIT CAD Cam, Just in Time CAD Cam. He's a USMC veteran. So thank you very much for your service, Phil. And thank you for being here with all of us today. Very excited to kind of pick your brain. We have a Fusion Wizard in the running today, the #1 seed, Great Nate 08. So it'll be awesome to pick your brain. Have you had a chance thus far to see any of the competition? Is there anybody who's in the competition who you consider a favorite?
So I do have to say, hands down, I think Great Nate might be my favorite because this guy has done some stuff in unreal amounts of times that even leaves me speechless. And I get to see this stuff all day, every day. But I haven't seen everybody. So that's not to say we might have a new favorite after today, as I've seen Ricardo's stuff a little bit. He is crazy fast as well. Yeah, we're not supposed to have favorites, you know, here on the admin side of things, but I got to tell you that if I was allowed to have a favorite, it would probably be Ricardo. So having Ricardo going up against Great Nate today is a real treat. This could absolutely have been the final matchup. And so I'm sad to have to see one of them go, but I'm very excited to see how these matches go down today. You know, this must be Hatfields versus the McCoys going on, because you with the SolidWorks, me with the Fusion, here we are head to head.
Here we are.
It's not even the finals.
Yeah, it's not even the finals yet, but you know what? It's exciting nonetheless, and I'm very thankful to be here and to have these guys going against each other and to have you here in the booth with me calling the action. You know, we were able to gather some of the best CAD users from around the world, 6 different CAD systems representing 14 different countries from around the world for this tournament. And the way that we did this was we had them create these models, these 3 models in a speed running environment. And it was none other than Great Nate who ended up qualifying first in that speed modeling challenge. And so it really goes to show kind of what you're saying, being able to go back and watch those videos on the leaderboard and see how these guys are coming up with this geometry. I certainly have learned a lot from watching these runners, whether they're SolidWorks users or using other CAD. It definitely like stirs up your brain a little bit and gets you thinking, oh, I wonder if I could do that in my CAD system.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely on my end was gonna attempt to partake and compete, and then I saw Nate's videos and I was like, yep, this guy's above me. There's no way I can even duplicate what he does.
Well, the cool thing about this format is that you're doing an optimized run here. You're doing a speed run. You know, you're trying to create these 3 models as quickly as you can, and you've got as many tries as you want to do that. So that doesn't necessarily translate into success in the tournament. You know, it's a different skill set in the tournament. In this qualifier, you really have a chance to kind of plan out your approach and try some different things and come up with that optimized run. But in the tournament, it's really all about trying to figure out as quickly as you can what's going on the print and then turning that into an accurate model. And we've certainly seen people who are ranked really high on the leaderboard fall already in the Sweet 16. So it's pretty fun.
No, I agree completely. However, as most people may be able to tell or may not be able to tell, when you watch my video content, it's one and done. Very rarely, with the exception of my kids and dogs interfering, I try to A to B it, no take 2, and just give it as real as it can be given.
Well, that's one of the things I really like about your videos is that there's a lot of times where we're watching your videos. And guys, if you haven't seen Phil's videos, you can look them up on the JIT CAD Cam YouTube channel. And maybe, Phil, you could drop a URL into the chat here.
I'll go ahead and pull one up right now.
But the thing that I like about your videos is that a lot of times you'll make a mistake and then you'll just say, hey guys, this is how it is in the real world. Like sometimes we make mistakes. Now I'm going to show you how to fix that mistake. And I find that at least in my career, that's where I've really learned the most is from watching people make those mistakes, but then fix them. Because then when I make the mistake, I'm like, oh, okay, you go into this tool, you search for the errors, you do this, you do that. And so I really appreciate that you just kind of plow through and that you're comfortable with that. And you're absolutely right. That's how the real world is.
Oh, it 100% is. Every time I'm on site with a customer, it's some new problem or some wild thing I've never seen. And as I've always told everybody is I'm only good at this because I know how to figure stuff out. It's not because I know the answer immediately. It's I know how to get the answer.
Yeah, exactly. That's truly what it's all about. And so, guys, if you are just tuning in, or if you couldn't tell, Phil is absolutely an expert in Fusion. If you have any questions on Fusion or on CAM in general, or even on CAD in general, you can definitely fire those questions into the chat, and you guys can keep having a dialogue as we're going through here. I know we have some Fusion users in the chat as well, so let's make sure that we're all ready to show some love to Great Nate 08 when he makes his run. But before we do, speaking of showing love, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share and reshare. It's a great way to help grow the channel, the Too Tall Toby channel. You can take a screen capture of what we're doing today when we get into the battles. You can share that with your coworkers or with your social media network. Make sure you hit that like button as well. Looks like we got 66 people watching right now. Let's see what we got as far as our like count. 28 likes. So let's see what we can do to get that number to match. We want to always have that at a 1-to-1 ratio. And of course, if you have the capability and if you get a lot of value out of this channel, you can always send some value back. We try to run on a value for value model, which means that you can visit us at tootalltoby.com/donate if you wanted to sign up for some type of a financial contribution. You can also use the super chat. We do have the super chat enabled today during this live stream. So the super chat is an option down at the bottom of your screen. There's like a little $ thing. If you're watching the recording, you can do super thanks, or again, you can visit us at tootalltoby.com/donate. We have PayPal set up, and thanks to help from our amazing friend Aaron C., we also got Venmo set up on that channel. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. Kent Allison says, live from my high school classroom, the whole class is watching. That is awesome, Kent. Let us know, what are you teaching? What type of CAD are you teaching? And that is so cool. Huge shout out to Kent and to all the, or should I say Mr. Allison, and all the educators out there, all the CAD educators out there. Really, really appreciate you teaching the next generation of engineers. He says, SOLIDWORKS. Let's go, Mr. Allison. That's what we like to see. And I want to give just a quick shout out. We started a new program for this tournament, a super fans program, where people who wanted to help out, who maybe weren't running a company and didn't want to become an official corporate sponsor, could support through what's called a super fan donation. We kind of got a super fan donation from you earlier in the season, huh, Phil?
You did indeed. I had to cough up something, all this entertainment, and I can subscribe to things like YouTube. Why can't I, throw a few dollars over to Too Tall Toby to keep this competition going?
Well, it's hugely appreciated, and thank you so much. And we do have an official Superfans program. You can become a Superfan. You can email Vicky at tootalltoby.com. One-time $100 donation, and what that gets you is onto this special list with Bob Evans, who this is what Bob looks like. He's a mechanical engineer. You can see him there working on his clocks. And none other than Victor K., our world champion from last year, also in the Superfans program. So thank you so much to our super fans. Very much appreciated. And thank you so much to you as well, Phil. We got to get you onto this list. I got to get a special image of you for this list as well. And
the beard takes up the whole photo.
Yeah. And so today we're going to get into it. We've already been hyping it up. We're going to see Ricardo Jean going up against Great Nate 08. We're also going to see Dom. Dom was in the Final Four last year in the World Championship, going up against Mr. Alex, who's been in the tournament a couple of times and has been making just an absolute killer run this time around. So this one, SOLIDWORKS versus SOLIDWORKS, could definitely go either way. Very excited to see that matchup as well. And then next week, we're going to see a match between Inventor. You use Inventor at all, Phil?
I do actually play around with Inventor quite a bit, and Inventor Cam, nonetheless, is still a pretty popular item on my end.
Yo, let's go. So we got Titanium, the Inventor user, going up against Crispy Co., and we've got Fusion 360 expert Ram Bros going up against Otse, the SolidWorks wizard. So this is going to be some good matches next week. I love seeing all the variety. I love seeing all the Autodesk products here making their way towards the Final Four. It's really going to be anybody's game. We've never had a Fusion 360 champion. So I love the fact that we've got 2 Fusion 360 users here in the Elite 8. But we're going to see what happens here as the day goes on. So one big question is there a prize? And the answer is absolutely. Usually the prize goes to the top 4 people. And I want to give a huge shout out to our prize sponsor, 3D Connection. You can visit them at 3dconnection.com. And they've put up some prizes here for our first place champion, the Space Mouse Enterprise 2 kit, and the Keyboard Pro with numpad at a value of over $500. They put up a great prize for our second place runner-up, the Space Mouse Enterprise Kit 2, and for our third and fourth place winners, the Space Mouse Wireless Kit. So some really awesome prizes here coming out from our sponsor, 3D Connection. If you haven't visited them before, be sure to visit them, 3dconnection.com. Really, really great sponsor of, it's cool to have a sponsor like this because they are truly CAD agnostic. They work with every CAD system, and that's what we do here too. So it's like a perfect match. And I also want to give a shout out to some of our other sponsors and just mention that we're going to have more prizes. We're going to announce all the official prizes for first, second, third, and fourth next week. But we're also going to be doing some giveaways next week. And Phil, you may have noticed here that on my desk, I've got this tablet stand, which was made by our friends over at Mezco, this really cool Too Tall Toby machined sheet metal tablet stand. And then you may have noticed that back here, it's been kind of multiplying. We have another one and another one and another one. And so I'm very excited to announce that next week we're going to be giving away some of these tablet stands to anybody who's in the audience. We're going to do our giveaways just like we did last year during the World Championship. We're going to start doing that next week. So if you're out there and you're watching and you're interested in getting a hold of one of these tablet stands, you can make sure that you tune in next week. We're going to do that giveaway again next week. We're also going to have a special giveaway for our runners. For all 16 of our runners, we're going to have a special prize giveaway for everybody who started out in this tournament. Even if you've already been eliminated, you still got a chance to win a prize. And so we're going to be doing that next week. We're going to continue doing those giveaways as we head into the finals as well. So be on the lookout for that. Next week, we've got Ram Bros versus Otse. We've got Titanium versus Crispy Co. And I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, to SpokeB.com, who really helped set this up with the crew over at Mezco. Got to give a shout out to Brian LaGrange from Mezco, who made this all happen with these stands, created the design for these stands, and got these stands over to us and donated these stands to help out the tournament. So huge shout out to Mezco. You can visit them, mezcofab.com, where ideas go from concept to creation. A great crew over there, another true super fan. And also spokeb.com. Be sure to check out what they're doing. They were a sponsor of us last year during the World Championship, sponsor again this year. And they're creating a configurator to help engineers go from just having an idea to actually having a product for sale. So check out spokeb.com. And thank you to those sponsors. And thank you to Mezco for making those stands. And thank you to Mr. Alex in the chat. Says, let's start this train. Let's start the super chat train. Thank you so much, Mr. Alex. 20 euros. Yo, that's a lot. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Really helping keep this train rolling. I like it. I like it. And guys, I want to also just give a shout out to some of our other sponsors, our 2 diamond sponsors. You can see them listed up at the top of the screen, mysolidbox.com and www.f.energy. SolidBox has been a sponsor of the Too Tall Toby channel for a long time. And Phil, I got to tell you, I don't know if this happens much in Fusion, but in SolidWorks, there's nothing worse than buying a brand new laptop and then opening up your first assembly on that new laptop and right away getting an error. SolidWorks is busy running a command. Do you want to wait for the command to finish, or do you want to close SolidWorks and you may lose any unsaved work? Well, I got to tell you, this is pretty frustrating when you first go out and you buy a brand new computer. And the crew at SolidWorks really aims to never have this happen to you. And the way that they do that is that these guys are experts in the latest and greatest in hardware technology. So they'll help you spec out a machine that'll work for whatever you're doing, whether it's SolidWorks or Fusion, Inventor, any 3D CAD system. They're going to be able to help you spec out a computer, and they're going to make sure that it has exactly what you need. They create a custom build of Windows 11 with all the bloatware stripped out. They make sure you have the correct processor in there. They make sure you've got the correct amount of RAM, and they make sure that you've got the best video card for your needs. And the whole team at SolidWorks is just trying to make sure that when you get that computer, you got no hassle, no worries, no IT assistance required. It just works as soon as it gets to your desk.
Hands down. I mean, I've actually purchased a couple of SolidBox computers myself over the years, and they are great machines. And I can tell you this, that when you're going to go out and buy a computer, just to not have bloatware is worth it in itself. The amount of things that you have to uninstall nowadays is crazy to me, let alone the fact that the bang for the buck and how powerful you can actually get on the extreme end of the spectrum, or even more of a budget build that you're looking, a lot of the high schools I know love purchasing these systems to teach Fusion on, that is, to teach Fusion, not the other software.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, again, another CAD agnostic partner. So awesome to have a partner like this, like SolidBox, and they're really out there to help everybody. And whether you're using SolidWorks or Fusion or Inventor or any 3D CAD system, they're going to be out there to help you. And they don't just do the computer hardware and optimization; they also do CAD CAM training classes and even engineering consulting services. And those training classes are across a wide spectrum of CAD systems. So if you're ever looking to get any kind of services like what we see here, be sure to visit mysolidbox.com. Awesome sponsor, longtime sponsor of the show. And thanks so much to JitCAD Cam for that super chat donation as well, keeping this train rolling. I like it. I appreciate it.
Hey, somebody had to poke the bear and put $1 up there to show that it doesn't take much. You can put anything and everything. I'm going to put more in there throughout the day before anybody criticizes me, but I figured it'd be funny to be the low bidder.
No, man, I don't think anybody in this crew is going to criticize you because, like you said, every little bit helps. And, value comes, it means different things to, different people in different circumstances. And so anytime somebody sends value back my way, I don't care if it's just like a nice testimonial, if it's $1, if it's a cool image that I can use. Value comes in a lot of different forms, and I'm always very thankful. And there's no minimum. There's definitely no minimum on value, at least not to me. So, guys, our other sponsor is Fuse, www.f.energy, and they're engineering the fastest practical paths to limitless clean energy. So I got to tell you about these guys, Phil, because I think this might be a product that you might be interested in maybe putting it on a trailer behind the van. And so what Fuse does is they are an early stage fusion company, and their mission is to accelerate the world's transition to fusion energy. And their core product is an impedance matched Marx generator, or you might refer to that as an IMG. That's what most of us refer to it as. And that's called Titan. And it is the most efficient and powerful machine of its kind. So if you ever need a fusion energy reactor and like maybe you're doing some really high-end cam work and you need to generate those tool paths a little faster, this is your beast. This is what you need right here, is that Titan. And so we are hugely thankful to the team at Fuse for sponsoring the tournament. The thing that the message they wanted us to convey to all of these CAD experts that are out there that are watching this tournament is that Fuse is currently hiring and has offices in California and the Montreal area. So they're looking for engineers to help them tackle this monumental challenge of fusion energy. So if you're out there, if you want to learn more about what Fuse is and what they're doing with this project and maybe even join their team, you can visit them, www.f.energy. And we're super thankful to them for being a diamond sponsor of this year's World Championship tournament. Thank you, Fuse.
Yeah, I would have to say, being more of a cam machinist guy, I know plenty of places that would be happy to have some free 3-phase power laying around, right?
Exactly. You can never have too much power.
That's right.
So Dom says, very practical for those 12-axis toolpath projects. Yes, exactly. Nailed it. Let's see here. Can we see what everybody's saying in the chat? I might have to make this a little bit smaller. Give me a second here. I feel like this is a little...
Yeah, maybe definitely 3D printing. We all know that that nozzle temp. That'll get you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, listen. Let's get into it here. We are in our 3D CAD speed modeling tournament, the Elite 8. If you guys are ready to get into this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to share and reshare. And let's get into it here with this first matchup. This first matchup is going to be here on September 27th between Ricardo Jean and between Great Nate 08 and Ricardo Jean. And the way that this works, Phil, is let's just say we had two runners like Ivan the Reasonable and Aaron C. These are two guys who have been longtime friends of the show. They've been on the channel during this tournament doing co-commentary. Let's say we had an exhibition where these two guys were going up against each other. Well, the way that it works is I'm going to show them and all of you out there a 2D print, and I'm going to challenge them to turn that into a 3D model. They're going to share their screen, and we're going to watch them go from the process of looking at a 2D print to turning it into a 3D model. They're going to try to calculate the mass, and they're going to try and enter that mass directly into the YouTube chat. And so the rules of this tournament are that the runners need to complete that task not once, but twice in order to move on to the final four. So they have to calculate the mass, enter that mass in the chat, and it has to be correct. But what if it's incorrect? Well, our runners are allowed one incorrect answer. If they enter in the answer and the answer is 420, I'd say, no, I'm sorry, Ivan, 420 is not the correct answer. Please try again. And then Ivan's going to have to go back through his model and try to figure out where the mistake was. And then he has one more chance to submit the right answer. If he gets it wrong twice, then that's it. Ivan can't answer again, and then it'll be up to Aaron C to go through and come up with the correct answer. You do have to get the correct answer to earn the point. There's no free points, at least not until we get to sudden death. Now, if you're out there watching and you want to play along with, you absolutely can and should. What you want to do is when I show the 2D print, grab a screen capture on your computer so that you can model right along with these guys. But just do me a favor, don't help them, okay? Don't post the mass in the chat, and don't help them if they get stuck. Don't say like, hey, you're missing a fillet, or you should do that with a shell, or something like that. You know, these guys are the stars today, so we're going to try and let them shine. And other than that, in 2024, the new rules are that all the challenges are going to be tier 3 and higher. Of course, we're in the Elite 8 now, so we're going to expect to see some more challenging models. We're going to see sheet metal, we're going to see lofts, we're going to see sweeps, and we're going to see multi-body in this tournament. And there is a new sudden death rule. This only kicks in if there's two matches in a row where the runners cannot come up with an answer. We call that a push when there's no points awarded. And if that happens twice in a row, then we'll go to sudden death rules. But it hasn't happened yet in this tournament. Hopefully it won't happen with these wizards. Here we go. We're going to get into this first matchup, but we just want to do a quick technical check just to make sure that everything looks good, feels good, that the runners kind of know the ropes a little bit, and maybe even let them work out some butterflies. So let's do a quick practice match here. I'm going to flip over to full screen here. And once I flip over to full screen, what we're going to do is we're going to show these runners a practice model, and they're going to try to model it, and we'll make sure that all of our technical stuff looks good. So here we go. This first practice battle between Great Nate 08 and Ricardo Jean begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? This part is called Holy Brick. And what's happening right now is Great Nate 08 and Ricardo Jean are grabbing a screen capture of this print, and they're jumping into their CAD systems, and they're trying to model these up. So let's see here. We had a little technical glitch there, had the wrong runners up. But the rest of this looks pretty good. Chat looks good. Ricardo Jean got in there pretty fast to model that thing up. Great Nate looks like he's using some kind of a mass calculation tool. I like it. I like it a lot. Very much approved.
That definitely looks like a custom API somebody built to maybe get the upper hand on some button clicks.
You know what? The thing is, the rule we have for that kind of stuff is that if that functionality exists in another system, you're welcome to code it into your system. You know, in SolidWorks, you can click new. You can have a template that has that material, that has a sensor in it. You can use the custom properties panel. So I don't want to force people to go through a bunch of extra steps. If they can figure out how to get there faster, especially because it has a real world application too, it's all good. It's all good. You know, if you write a custom macro that like goes in and makes all the sketches, that would be kind of crossing the line. But if you're just writing something to help calculate the mass, it's all good. So here we go. We see Ricardo Jean came into the chat here. If I roll back just a smidge, Ricardo Jean came into the chat here, 1229. And then if I roll forward a little bit here, we can see the Great Nate 08, Nathaniel Black came in with 122.9 as well. And LCR Brick Tech came in with 122.9 or 0.8. Good. All right, good. So it looks like our runners understand the gist of this game. And so now there's one final tradition we need to go through before we can really get these guys started. And that is to consult the Wheel of Fate. And the Wheel of Fate is where we let everyone in the chat kind of practice their ability to do clairvoyance. And so we find out, you know, who has some clairvoyance. Maybe you have like a wizard or a witch in your family line somewhere, and that gene has been passed down to you. So we're going to find out who has clairvoyance. We got Mr. Alex coming in 26, Damien 26, Jern 31, X Area 30, Iron Man 30, Vicky Chong 31, JitCad Cam 29, David coming in 28. We see here we've got LCR Brick Tech 28. The Wheel of Fate is so cruel sometime. John coming in 29. Dom coming in 27. Let's give this thing a shuffle, and let's see what the Wheel of Fate has in store for our runners today.
Oh, just missed it.
Okay.
26 it is.
Yeah, good start. All right, that's a good one to start with. So I'm going to remove this from the wheel, and we'll see what comes up next on this Wheel of Fate. But congratulations to anybody who got 26. That was very impressive. You definitely have some clairvoyance in you. It looks like it was Mr. Alex right away. Very first person and got it correct. Damien right behind, 26 as well. Very nice, very nice. And let's see, did anybody else get it? Okay, you guys are going to be very lucky this weekend. You're going to have great fortune this weekend. We used to read off the fortunes almost like there was a fortune cookie, but...
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the fortune cookies, right?
Yeah, we have to read it off that way. All right, well, Phil, maybe you could do us the honors of telling us a little bit about these runners. Great Nate 08 is our #1 seed, Fusion 360 Phenom, and Ricardo Jean is our #8 seed, and he's a CSWE, SOLIDWORKS Certified Expert, and Mechanical Engineer. So maybe you could tell us a few more fun facts about these guys.
Yeah, so this one was pretty shocking to me with Great Nate lining up there, is the fact that he's only been using it for 7 years, yet he's still in high school. So he's like most of us that are machinists with that overtime, starting work since before we were born if you go on a 40-hour week. But outside of that, he loves playing volleyball, which I assume he might live somewhere near the coast, hopefully not the East Coast where I'm at right now, getting rained on. Outside of that, it looks like we have Ricardo Jean, obviously loves his wife. Outside of that, he's a SOLIDWORKS user since 2006, which almost guarantees he's been using it longer than Nate's been alive, it sounds like. Outside of that, he's also brother and father are designers. So he's a multi-generational designer nonetheless.
Yes, I like that. It runs in the family. Wow. Well, my goodness, guys, this is going to be a very exciting matchup here. We got Great Nate 08, our #1 seed, Ricardo Jean, our #8 seed. The very first matchup in the Elite 8. This one could go either way. I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't wait to see what happens here. So, guys, let's get into it. In the chat, let us know who you're rooting for. I know that this is going to be, it's too close to call for me, that's for sure. But I know that I'm just super excited about this one. Phil, are you ready for this one?
Oh, I am so ready for this one. You have no idea.
All right, guys. Well, then here we go. Let's get into it. Our very first battle in the Elite 8. Great Nate from the United States running Fusion 360. Ricardo Jean from Italy running SOLIDWORKS. Here we go. Good luck to both. This CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance on this one is ±2. This is called angled plate. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this print, coming up with a plan on how to get started, and jumping into their CAD systems. Let's flip over and take a look at the action. We got Great Nate on the left running Fusion 360. He's a Fusion 360 phenom. We got Ricardo Jean on the right running SOLIDWORKS. He's a certified SOLIDWORKS expert and mechanical engineer. Great Nate drawing first blood, coming up with that very first solid feature. Ricardo Jean on the right, still coming up with what looks like maybe his first feature. Possibly experiencing a screen freeze here from Ricardo Jean, which it's okay if that happens. You know, either Zoom will catch up or he's caught up. There we go. Decided to go with those fillets in the first feature. I like it, but Great Nate was right there with him, already getting those fillets in place.
That was pretty crazy. I've never seen that in SOLIDWORKS. The window select to auto fillet corners on a rectangle.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. But it is cool that both guys are taking kind of the same approach right now. It looks like everybody's starting with the base and working their way up. I personally wouldn't have went that way after a quick glance, but then again, that might just be the machinist side of me from years of having to make stuff like this and wondering what's going on.
Well, it's always interesting that we've got two CAD experts here. There's so many different branches you could go off on your decision tree when you're deciding how to build this part, and yet both of them decided the exact same grouping of features to begin with. So cool.
Yep, 100%. And, you know, something that's kind of crazy is I remember seeing this, and this might be a pro tip for the rest of the competition, is I did see a trick. What was it, last week when I was watching while driving across the country, is it's not where the hole is. It's sometimes just a hole through there will still get you the same mass.
Yep, that's an old trick in the community. It's what's known as the Ivan exploit. And you're absolutely right. There are times when people are able to leverage that exploit. And there's times when sometimes I have to create what's called an Ivan exploit an anti-Ivan exploit feature. And so, for example, in the bottom of this plate, you'll notice that I strategically located that cutout directly beneath those holes. So if you don't put those holes in the right spot, you're not going to be removing the correct amount of material.
It's funny, you could be modeling for years and years and years, and at this point, looking back at it, it's like now you have guys exploiting for speed. Completely changes how you have to model and go against the grain.
Yeah, well, you know, my whole goal in creating these challenges is to help teach people best practices. So that's where, like, I actually am motivated to create anti-Ivan exploits, because I don't want them to develop bad habits. You know, I want them to develop good habits so they can, you know, they can actually use it in their job.
Yep, 100%. I mean, when I train people on the CAD side of the software and design 101 is I always tell people your sketch really doesn't matter. Yes, fully constrain it as both softwares are capable of, but nobody looks at your sketch. It's all about the model, right? How do you get to the model is more important than having a perfect sketch at the end of the day.
Yep. And I noticed it looked like just a moment ago, Great Nate 08 was using like a multi-contours in one sketch. Is that a feature in Fusion?
Run that by me one more time.
It looked like he created multiple closed contours and then was able to pick different regions to extrude.
Yeah, so you can 100% do that at the end of the day. You have the ability to actually, instead of having one region, you have multiple different regions, or as I like to say, fenced in areas is a little better way to look at it.
I like that. That's cool. That's good to know that Fusion can do that.
I would say, though, it could be a disadvantage, though, is all those extra mouse clicks clicking regions versus maybe creating just one clean shape. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yes. Yeah. Boy, this sure is a close match. These guys, this could still go either way. Nobody is clearly ahead or clearly behind.
It is wild to see. And I mean, seeing this live from this view versus watching through YouTube, it's even crazier when you get to actually take a little bit of time, see the mouse click, see what they're doing, see the thought process even is great.
Yeah. And once again, look at this. These guys are, it's like you're watching a mirror of two different, you know, images of the same user almost. They're both at the exact same feature. They're both going through in the exact same order. Ooh, Great Nate there. Looked like maybe he was using a delete face there. I like that.
Even that is one nice thing in Fusion is you do have direct model editing. So the ability to pick a couple faces and just hit your delete key tends to auto repair.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's funny, they're even both struggling with the same feature. That's like really, really funny. They both got to the same feature at the same time, and now they're both struggling with the same feature. Great Nate coming in with an answer, and it looks like his answer is 1916 grams. That is not correct. That is not correct. Great Nate coming in with the answer, 1916 grams, and that is not correct. Not correct. So Great Nate's now going to have to go through and try to figure out what exactly was wrong with that model. You know, did he miss a dimension? Did he miss a feature? He's going to have to figure that out. Looks like he's recognizing something here.
Yeah, this is definitely a little bit of a trickier part the further you get in there.
Well, we are at the Elite 8 now, and so I wanted to make sure that these guys, you know, were being tested, really truly tested on their skills. I remember Ivan the Reasonable said he always did better in the later rounds of the tournaments, because in the earlier rounds, you know, you could get them the models so quickly that they tend to favor the people who kind of know the basics and just really repeat the basics. But as you get deeper, like this model, you know, you have to put a little bit more thought, a little bit more consistency in.
I think the hardest part about this so far for anybody that has to sit in my seat is to not shout out into my microphone that is a hot mic how I would do it, right?
Yes. We had a lot of discussion about that on the channel, you know, wondering how much it really does affect the runners or not. But I appreciate that all the co-commentators have been able to kind of keep it a little bit more on the conservative side as far as oversharing, you know. And so I think that's the trick here, is that we don't want to ruin it for them. We want to really truly give them a chance to compete 1 versus 1. You know, it's really up to each of them to figure it out. And if one of them happens to get stuck, you know, you don't want anybody to get in there and ruin it for the other one.
I mean, I would even be interested if we could almost have the contestants' mics open, because I'm an out verbal, you know, kind of thinker where I would be talking myself through this to prep myself.
Yeah, that's something that Mrs. Tall Toby, she said that would be pretty cool if we had that, or, you know, maybe some other ways of like keeping stats. How about like a heartbeat monitor on the runners? I think that would be a good one.
How sweaty is your mouse?
Yeah, exactly. Little what's it called? Humidity gauge.
Looked like Great Nate was going to go for something again, but he's coming back to make another decision.
Mm-hmm. And once again, we see, okay, so Great Nate coming in with an answer, 2179. That is not correct. Ricardo Jean coming in with an answer, 2184. And that is correct. Wow, wow, wow. 2184 is what I came up with, and that was a plus or minus 2 gram tolerance. So you can see how close Nate was. 2179. If it was 2182, he would have been within range. Wow, what a close match. What a treat to watch these guys. My goodness, good game to Ricardo Jean. Very well done. Solid the whole way through. Good game to Nate. Great Nate 08. Definitely got in there, ran into a few hiccups along the way, but super impressive from both of them. And wow, Ricardo Jean in the chat saying, gosh, Nathaniel Black is so fast, man. Yeah, he's keeping the pressure on you the whole time for sure. What do you think about that match, Phil?
I mean, that was quite impressive. I see Great Nate still back here trying to figure out where he went wrong, and I'd be curious to know as well, nonetheless. But that was extremely close. And to say within technically 3 grams, it looks like by my math.
Yep, that's exactly right. He was right there, so close. One little feature was off. One little feature was too small, too big. That's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. It's the wheel. The wheel of fate is unforgiving for sure. Well, speaking of that wheel of fate and it being unforgiving, guys, let's first of all give a GG in the chat. Dom, I love seeing you using those icons, those new emojis, and I like that icon next to your name. That's looking solid. That green and purple looks good. Guys, GG to the winner, and let's turn back to our friend, the Wheel of Fate, and let's see what she has in store next. If anybody out there wants to test their clairvoyance, this is your chance. You can certainly test your clairvoyance. That last one was 26. We saw Mr. Alex get it right away. I would say whatever Mr. Alex says, just repeat what he says. He seems to be spot on today. Rockcrawler in the chat. What's up, Rockcrawler? Bill Heather is here today. What's up, Bill? Welcome, welcome. Johan is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Rockcrawler saying 30, Johan 27, Damien 30, John saying 28, David saying 29, Iron Man in the chat. What's up, Iron Man? Good to see you again. Henning in the chat. JitCat Cam says 29. 29, 29, 30, 30, 29. Oh, gosh, they're all coming in so fast. Let's just give this thing a rip. Let's just see what ends up happening.
I'm staying 29 till bust.
Okay, here we go.
Either way, it's got to be 29 eventually.
29 till bust. I like it. I like it. Ooh. Okay. I like this one. All right, guys. Well, it looks like it was 31. So who got it? Who has the clairvoyance? Let's find out real quick. Henning Hoffer, 31. First person to come in with the correct answer. Well done. O'Neill Mark, 31. Very nice. Bill Heather, good job. Amir Shea, 31. Let's go. Let's go. So close. So close. Yes. All right, guys. Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Well, we are going to take a look at this next model number 31, and maybe, Phil, you could tell us a little bit more about these runners. We got a few more fun facts about these runners. Whoops, sorry about that. Let me just back up.
Oh, man, this might be the hardest part about having to be a runner on this show, is to have this many facts about yourself.
Indeed.
Wow, all right. So we got Great Nate building his own 3D printer, electric go-kart. I would love to hear more about that, maybe in an offline setting, and even a robot arms. That's amazing. That being said, he also has his projects on his own YouTube channel. So Nathaniel Black, if he wants to put that in chat when he gets a moment later after he dries off those hands from the sweat, we could get that in there. Outside of that, it looks like we have Ricardo Jean lives in Brazil, and, well, he was born in Brazil, but now lives in Italy. That's amazing. I'm actually jealous of that nonetheless. Don't we all wish we could just be in Italy on this fine afternoon? Mm-hmm. And with that being said, it looks like he has he's drawn the historical Ferrari F40. Is there any way we can get a chance to get that YouTube channel link so that we can take a look at that as well in the chat and all of our other viewers?
I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's pretty epic. Cool. Well, these guys both have a lot of experience. I know building your own 3D printer, building your own go-kart, that's going to take a lot of experience, a lot of 3D CAD to get that up and running. But drawing up the historical F40, that's also going to take a lot of experience, a lot of CAD. So, man, these guys, this is, I can't wait. I got to shake it off. I'm nervous myself just watching this. So here we go, guys. This next CAD battle is going to be between Great Nate 08 and Ricardo Jean. The Wheel of Fate has spoken. We're going to take a look at model number 31. This CAD battle between Great Nate 08 using Fusion 360 from the United States and Ricardo Jean using SOLIDWORKS from Italy begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this part. This part is called Nozzle. It is in MMGS and plain carbon steel, little carbon steel nozzle here, and it's got some draft on it. These two faces are drafted at 8 degrees. Looks like our runners both have that screen capture. Let's move over and take a look and see what they come up with for this thing. So, what do you think about this part, Phil?
Better them than me. That's what I'm going to tell you at the end of the day. But overall, I would say at first look, it does look quite brutal, and it would be way worse if I had to do this competing against these experts. But like most parts, you stick to the basics, what you know, and you're going to get there. And as I always tell people, you know, it's not how you get there, it's just getting there is the most important part, right?
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed a lot of our runners doing is what Ricardo Jean is doing there on the right, which is to really almost overuse slot tools. Like I've noticed that our runners, like if there's ever a lug sticking out of the side of a housing, they'll use the slot tool to generate the geometry for that lug. And here we see once again Ricardo Jean deciding to use the slot tool. I think there's so much value in the slot tool that people underutilize. And definitely if there's one lesson that I take away from this whole experience, it would be really learn how to use the slot tool in your CAD program. There could be a lot of time savers in there.
I'm not going to lie. I was watching some warm-ups earlier when we were kicking this show off, and Great Nate himself was trying to make an actual slot around a radius, you know, kind of, and there's tools for that you forget about because you get so stuck in your ways or the outside of the box thinking where you're just like, oh, I'm going to do it this way, not knowing there's an actual specialty tool for it, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's kind of the cool thing about this whole experience too, is like if you go to practice models, tootalltoby.com/practice, you can really work on models that you would have never worked on at your job. And then you get exposed to those tools like that arc slot tool. So guys, huge shout out to
I mean, I've even thought about possibly posting on my own channel, people watching me fumble through making Too Tall Toby parts, but I think it might be easier for me to hire somebody like Great Nate to show people the way it's done.
That might be the way to do it. Guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Rockcrawler in the chat, keeping the super chat going. Thank you so much, Rockcrawler. Very glad that you are enjoying this session. I got to tell you, I am so enjoying this session. This is so cool to see these two guys battling it out. We see Ricardo Jean on the right was able to come through, was able to create the first couple of features. It looks like maybe Great Nate is struggling a little bit on the left, trying to come up with that first grouping of features. We could definitely see this time around, it looks like maybe Ricardo's pulling ahead a little bit more than last time, but it is far from over. There's a lot of geometry in this model.
There is, hands down, and it looks simple. And when you look at somebody that plastic injection molds these 10,000 at a time, you're like, oh, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, this is something that can really catch up. I love how Great Nate used that pattern there. That was such a good pattern there that he was able to create and then get those fillets on there like almost immediately. Looks like he's back. He's back in. One thing
it is fun. I mean, to say the least, it's kind of, I've always noticed no matter where I've been, whether it be CAD or CAM, every software has pros and cons, and it's how you play them to your advantage to what you're doing and the task you're doing. Because I seen Ricardo pattern things as a sketch that I would have never personally patterned because I always like to get to a model, and it's just crazy to see the speed and the efficiency of these guys or the way they think.
Yes. Yeah, I agree completely. And it's one thing that I've noticed about the Autodesk products is that a lot of times it seems like the runner is almost like down and out. And I look away from their screen for a moment and then I look back and it's like, oh, no, actually they're almost done with the model. Like it's don't know what it is. It's like maybe the way that certain features hide and show that I'm not used to. But there's just been so many times during this tournament where I've looked away from the Autodesk user, and then I come back. I look away, look back, and they completely surprise me with how much progress they've made.
Yeah, I mean, it is exactly like that. And again, going back to training people, I always tell them, don't be precise on the front, be precise on the rear. And that tends to help everybody with those sketches when you're first getting started is, get the shape. Don't worry about the dimensions. Add the dimensions later. And it looks like we have somebody coming in here.
Yeah, we might be seeing an answer here. Nathaniel Black, Great Nate 08, coming in with 111 grams. And that is correct. Wow.
Woo, my heart was racing.
Once again, just incredible. Exactly what we were just talking about. I was looking at Great Nate in the beginning, and I was like, oh, he's out. Ricardo's got this. Ricardo had so many features right away, and then just complete Cinderella story, come from behind. My goodness, that was awesome. Wow. GG. So much fun to watch these matches, and whoo. Mr. Allison, if you're still out there watching with your class, you guys are getting a show. Man, oh man, this is cool.
I would be curious after these guys drawing these parts the first time to hear what they would want to do the second time. Because there's things that we all do in the heat of the moment. We think back later, probably waking up at 2 a.m. like myself going, you know what would have won that for me?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if anything would have won that for Ricardo. Great Nate 08 came through there so fast, so much speed. Wow. Okay. All right. I like it. We got ourselves a little CAD battle going on here. My goodness. Woo. Top of the part was tripping me up. That's what
in both
Nathan
of our
says.
cases there, nobody got swept this round, so I think we're holding out good.
This is what I dream of, is having these battles that go to all 3 rounds. This is what I really enjoy.
I'm a huge hockey fan, and I'm the same way. Nobody likes to see Game 4 playoffs, right?
No.
It's always Game 7.
Yes, let's go.
When Chicago holds that cup up instead of Detroit.
Yeah, let's go. All right, here we go. Guys, Wheel of Fate time. Not envious of these guys at all. Being 1-1 is a stressful place to be, says Aaron C. Yeah. Yes, Aaron C. And he knows. He's been in the tournament before. He was our 3rd place finisher last year. And he definitely knows what it's really what it's like. For sure. Okay, we got some answers in here coming in. 28, 27, 29, 27, 29, 29, 28. I like this variety. Here we go. Let's give this thing a rip. Nobody thinks 30. Interesting.
Okay. Finally.
There we go. You got it, Phil.
There we go.
First try. All right, guys. It looks like it's going to be 29, which means that it's going to be O'Neill Mark, who has the Clairvoyance Award for this time around. Phil's in there with the Clairvoyance Award. Vicky Chong is in there as well with the Clairvoyance Award. Congratulations. John says 0-3 today. That's all right, man. This isn't your weekend to go out gambling. So it's better to find that out here in the tournament than to find out at the casino or at the racetrack. All right, guys. We try to propagate, good habits here. So we've learned all of the fun facts about these guys. What is it that has surprised you the most about this match so far, Phil?
I mean, it always surprises me to see the way somebody else thinks, regardless of what software they're in, because, you can't just duplicate things 1-to-1. And honestly, both these guys have such a unique talent and a unique way to do things. It's almost a fingerprint. And I always joke to people when they bring problems to me to fix is I can almost tell you what YouTube video you watched. In this case, looking at these guys' design trees, I can almost tell you who modeled it seems.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great point, a great observation. You really do kind of pick up the habits and they do become kind of a fingerprint on the model, your style of modeling. That's so cool to say it that way. Wow. All right. Well, you ready for another match?
Oh, always. For sure.
Possibly the final match,
Possibly. Hopefully this guy goes sudden overtime.
It could. If it's a push, we'll end up going into overtime, and that's okay, too. I welcome more action between these 2 runners, for sure. All right, guys, here we go. Great Nate 08. It's been using Fusion 360 for 7 years, still in high school. From the United States, Going up against Ricardo Jean, used SolidWorks since 2006. He's a SolidWorks certified expert. This is going to be epic. United States versus Italy. This next CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in x.xx pounds? We got an IPS part, Phil. IPS part inbound, inches, pounds. Material is ABS. This part is called Cursed Wheel. Cursed Wheel. What is the mass of this part? WC29. Both of our runners grabbing a screen capture, jumping into 3D CAD. Let's see how they do it. Ricardo Jean once again starting out with our favorite tool. I like it. I like it.
That is pretty wild. And I mean, I guess you could give me more pointers on that. I assume you guys have 2-point slot, center point slot, right? Slot on curve inside of SolidWorks.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Both of our runners starting out with that slot tool. I like it. I like it. I like Ricardo Jean here, starting out, laying out the max diameter there. That's pretty smart. I like that layout. I like that he's going with kind of your approach, Phil, which is just keep it simple, one feature per sketch. You know, keep those sketches clean, and that way you can move on. And Ricardo Jean drawing first blood with that first solid feature in the model. But Great Nate 08 on the left decided to go with the layout approach. And like I mentioned in the previous match, I've seen so many Autodesk users do this and go from seemingly way, way far behind to all of a sudden being in first place. And so we're going to see if that occurs again in this match.
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to lie. I didn't get a good look at that drawing. I saw the physical shape and I could see it up here on the live stream. But at first I was like, why are these guys even drawing the slot? And now it makes sense because that's not a round handle.
Exactly.
That's actually an oval shaped handle.
Exactly. You got it exactly. Aaron C. flexing in the chat, saying how fast he could do this model. He's got the track record to prove it too. He wins week after week after week. He takes on all challengers in Model Monday Live, our Monday afternoon live stream, and he challenges the rest of the chat. And week after week after week, he comes up the champion. So
I might have to jump on there and see what the competition's like.
Yeah,
I might be able to pull 1 out of 1,000, and I'll brag on that one, even though I lose 999.
Well,
right?
The nice thing is nobody has to know. You know, in Model Monday Live, you get to model it in your own computer. You're not sharing your screen, and it's up to you if you want to submit your answer into the chat. So it's a lot lower pressure, but you still get that kind of buzz of competing against the other runners, the other CAD pros. So I
know I've been asked a lot lately, so I made a couple posts about being a co-host here, and a lot of my customers are like, man, we need to get a cam versus cam kind of going.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still trying to work out the kinks if anybody has some ideas on how we can score it, because you can't just push mass in a cam software.
Right. We could probably put our heads together and come up with something. Ricardo Jean here experiencing something that we've all experienced in SolidWorks. SolidWorks has a lot of frustrating functionality, and this is one of the things that I've experienced too, where you're trying to do a revolve using contours, like we talked about earlier, fenced-in areas, and SolidWorks just fights you the whole time. And this might be one of those moments, Phil, where Ricardo Jean looks back and just curses SolidWorks for putting him in this spot. This is something that I can feel his pain. Anybody who's out there who's a SolidWorks user could probably feel his pain. Like, he's done everything right. Why won't this thing just revolve? And it's just as we say on the forum, SolidWorks being SolidWorks. It can certainly yield some frustrating experiences. And man, this is one of them. I'm sure everybody out there who's a SolidWorks user, guys, if you know what I'm talking about, put a ZZZ in the chat for Ricardo. ZZZ for Ricardo in the chat. We definitely know how that feels to have been in that spot with SolidWorks just saying like, no, I'm just not going to do that thing that should be very simple. It's just 2 contours and we're going to revolve it. And SolidWorks just says, no, I'm not going to give you a good reason why. And you're just not going to be able to get this job out the door on time. Sorry.
Oh, that's crazy nonetheless. I didn't even know that about SolidWorks with the multi-fenced-in area, that you can only do one area in one shot, is it?
It's everything that he did there should have worked the way he did it, and it just sometimes just doesn't work. Just not.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there, exactly. But great recovery. He was able to get out of it. He was able to get those features into the model, get them revolved. Meanwhile, Great Nate on the left coming through here with that D-cut feature, where you would slip this thing onto the steering shaft or whatever the function of the wheel is, kind of index it on that shaft.
honestly, a part like this reminds me of running an old manual lathe, nonetheless. You having a hand wheeler back and forth.
Marco, we want to try not to answer in the chat, please. We want to make sure we let these guys answer in the chat. Yeah, exactly. It does remind me of like a Bridgeport wheel or something, or a lathe wheel.
We're getting down to the wire, and I'm watching Ricardo over there, and I feel like out of nowhere it's going to be there, right?
Super impressed with how quickly he was able to catch up here. And guys, we now see an answer in the chat for the cursed wheel from Great Nate 08, 6.66 pounds, and that is correct. And that's going to give Great Nate 08 the win and allow him to move on into the Final Four. Guys, let's give a huge GG in the chat to both of our runners, to Ricardo Jean for getting through those models, for putting on an awesome show. So brutal, Ricardo Jean. We've all been there. We've all seen that happen in maybe lower stakes scenarios, and really, really tough break there about the way SOLIDWORKS was fighting you on that feature. But good game overall. You got nothing to be ashamed of. You should be very proud of yourself for that run. And you just overall did awesome. GG to Great Nate 08. GG to Ricardo Jean. Wow, wow, wow. Congratulations to Great Nate 08 making it into the Final Four. And, of course, GG to our old friend of the show, Ricardo. Man, Ricardo, such a good run. Such a brutal ending. The Wheel of Fate is cruel. Why did she give you that model? Oh. Wow. Phil. Wow.
Tell me about it. I think I'm still working on the first drawing.
Whew. Boy, these guys are fast. Wow, wow, wow. And so now, I think possibly for the first time ever, we have a Fusion 360 user in the Final Four. So, Great Nate 08, you called it. Phil, you called it at the beginning of the session today. You said you had your eye on him. He made you proud.
Well, I mean, to say the least, it's possibly going to be two if tune in next week.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got Rambros next week, another absolute whizzer. But Rambros going up against Otse, he is not going to have an easy path. But honestly, none of these people in the Elite Eight have an easy path. They're all, they're all up against some really, really strong competition. So, Vicky Chong in the chat.
It's cheating on my end, though, being an Autodesk product and Autodesk having several CAD softwares to get into this competition. That, as a fan, I'm drawn. Like, at what point do I draw the line? Do I root Fusion and then USA, or does it Fusion Inventor then USA? Like, it's kind of a mix. I mean, I would love to see what people say in the chat. Like, what's your order? Do you do CAM software till they're eliminated and then you go country, or?
Man, that's a great question. If anybody has any thoughts on that in the chat, put in your order of allegiance when it comes to a CAD vs. CAD tournament. Very, very interesting. And while you're down there in the chat, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We got another awesome match coming up here. Wow, GG. Yes, exactly. GG. Great game to our runners. And
so I got to ask,
Ricardo,
how many seasons have we gone through on this at this point?
Gone through quite a few, that's for sure. We have a bunch of them listed, tootalltoby.com/tournaments. In the beginning, it was very loosely organized, but we really started cooking in 2022. So we did the World Championship 2022, 32 people, a lot of people. We did the World Championship 2023, also 32 people, and now we've dialed it down to 16 people, and we do more tournaments throughout the year. So we had the Spring Open earlier this year. We saw an Onshape user win the Spring Open. That was really cool. And then we have we have the World Championship here. So I think
if we were to go out into the Too Tall arena, aka your garage, you got banners up everywhere for all the winners. Right?
For all the winners. Well, we have the banners on the website, tootalltoby.com/tournament. Each winner has a banner very similar to when you retire somebody's number, or you have a banner up at the, in the rink, up at the top of the rink when you win the championship. We have banners like that for each winner for each year. So it shows the winner, their country, and then their CAD system. So, yeah, we had an Inventor winner a few years back, Gerben. He was epic. We've had SOLIDWORKS winners, a few SOLIDWORKS winners. We had an Onshape winner of the World Championship last year or 2 years ago, and then we had the Onshape winner again earlier this year in the Spring Open. So, it's been quite a variety and different people from different countries. You know, it's awesome. It's such a good community. I'm so thankful to be part of this community. And guys, if you're thankful to be part of this community too, and you want to keep it rolling, a great way to help keep it rolling is to support us through super chat, super thanks, donations. These are all really helpful. Really, another thing to be on the lookout for is training. If you guys ever want to learn how to be an expert like these guys, you know, keep an eye on the Too Tall Toby website, tootalltoby.com/training. That's another way that you can definitely support the channel. We offer training in SOLIDWORKS, we offer training in Onshape, and you know, anything that you need as far as training goes, let us know. We can definitely help get you up to speed so you can pass your certifications, or so that you can get as fast as these guys. You can enter the next tournament. Could have like a tournament prep training class. That'd be kind of fun. We can we can help you do whatever you need. Miss MP Stizzle says, awesome match. Way to go, schoolboy. Okay. Probably should have read it to myself before I read it out loud. Oh, here we go. Phil coming in. JitCat Cam getting that super chat train rolling again. Thank you so much, Phil. I should be paying you for being the co-commentator.
At this point, I'm just going to put up the money in the chat if my number gets picked, and we're going to stick with that number till the end. So I think the next go round we're going high number. I guess.
Yes, I like that. I like that. All right. Well, here we go, guys. We're going to move over to our next matchup. This one is going to be between Mr. Alex, who is from, I believe, Latvia. Mr. Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's Latvia, right? That's the Latvian flag. Do you know if that's right, Phil?
Oh, don't ask me. I don't think I've ever been out of the U.S.
Okay. And Mr. Alex, Latvia. Yeah, we got it. We got it right. So Latvia going up against, you know, it's funny, like whenever I'm out with my roommates and I see a flag that I recognize from the tournament, I call it out and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, oh, you just know these things, you know. When you get to be my age, you just know these things. So Mr. Alex, Latvia, and SOLIDWORKS going up against Dom, SOLIDWORKS. So you get to see some SOLIDWORKS on SOLIDWORKS violence here, huh, Phil?
Hey, I mean, at this point, it's kind of nice because I am going to learn all those things out of SOLIDWORKS because I don't have to pay so much attention to Fusion now, you know?
Yep, exactly. Well, that was really awesome to watch. I was really glad to see those matches. You know, huge shout out to both Ricardo and to Great Nate 08. But now let's move on and take a look at this matchup. We're going to do a quick round of practice just to make sure that we've got all of the everything that we need is in the correct order. Give me 1 sec. Let me just get the practice model, get this organized here. All right.
No problem. In the meantime, though, I mean, I'm kind of curious to know in the chat, who do they think is going to be the world champion this time around?
Who are we rooting for?
I mean, obviously, we all know my money's on a Fusion holder, but
yep. What's
everybody else think? Who's going to take it home now that Ricardo's out?
I'm still rooting for Ricardo Gene. Maybe there was some kind of like an error in the you know, the administrator made an error, and we're gonna have to go back.
Well, is it normal bracketing? Don't you have like after the first round of 16, a loser bracket comes back later or something, right?
Yeah, we could do that if we did 24. I think you have to have like an in-between binary number to do that. So, but we could do that for sure.
Oh, we got Alex. Good thing Alex is up this time around.
Yes. Good luck to Mr. Alex. Yeah, and it's not other than Dom who's giving him good luck. So that's some sportsmanship there. All right, guys, let's take a look here. We're going to flip over to full screen, and we're going to let these guys practice. Mr. Alex on the left, Dom on the right. SOLIDWORKS versus SOLIDWORKS. Here we go. This practice match begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? XXX grams. So what is the mass of this part in XXX grams? That is the question. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture, jumping into their CAD. How would you make a part like this, Phil? Would you extrude it?
I mean, I would have to say I would just go with the cylinder, and then in the world of Fusion, you have draft, which you could go flat and then grab that outer face and tilt it to whatever that angle is. But now looking back at that drawing, you might have to do like a lot of these guys are with the side profile and revolve, or maybe even 2 circles with an offset kind of, plane, and then doing a loft in between, right?
Yep. Oh, loft. Yeah, nobody did it with a loft. Guys, I want to start seeing you do these practices with lofts from now on. All right, Mr. Alex on the left, using SOLIDWORKS, comes in with an answer, 219 grams. That is correct. Dom on the right comes in with an answer, 219 grams. That is correct. So they both got it correct. So these guys both seem like they know what they're doing. They've been in the tournament before. So let's go back here to our Wheel of Fate and find out what she has in store for these runners. I got a feeling this is going to be a good couple of matches here. We're going to see some good stuff here in this match. So let me shuffle this up a little bit. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Okay. And Damien going with 30. Aaron C says, I really like both of these guys. Sad that one of them has to say goodbye to the competition today. Yes. Yes, indeed. We could
I'm pretty ecstatic that a 1 didn't randomly show up in front of one of those numbers, considering the donation is based off picked numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing how 30 turned into 130 real quick.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, to be full disclosure, if this goes to like if we end up losing all these models, let's say like the first one is a push, then the second one somebody gets a point, and then the third one the other person gets a point. Then we go to my backup models, and my backup models actually are like 92, 93, and 95. So we can nullify the deal once that happens. But I didn't want you to think that I was pulling a fast one on you if that does happen. All right, guys, here we go. Let's give this thing a spin. John TL says that wheel is broken. Let's see what we come up with here. Oh, boy.
Oh, of course. There it is already off the start. There it is.
Let's go. It worked. Well, you're under no obligation, Phil, just so you know.
No, there's stickers now. I didn't realize you guys have stickers, but I don't know if there's a 30 sticker. There's not. We might have to throw 2 stickers in there.
Yo, let's go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. So we are going to now be taking a look at number 30. Let's remove this from the wheel. And let's learn. Yo, thank you, Phil. Phil, you're too kind. Wow. Guys,
I got to find the other one now. Some of these are pretty goofy, so.
You are amazing. Wow. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That feels good to hear. Feels real good to hear. Guys, let's get on this super chat train with Phil. Let's follow Phil into the world of the super chat. All right. Oh, thank you. Another one. Look at this guy flying through the air. That's cool. That's what I feel like sometimes. Guys, we got Mr. Alex, number 2. Thank you so much, Phil, by the way. Dom says palms are sweaty just from doing the practice. We got Mr. Alex, who's an engineering unit manager from Latvia running SolidWorks, our number 2 seed in that qualifier board, going up against Dom, number 10. He's a CSWE. He's a sign designer. He's an outdoors guy. So maybe we could learn a little bit more about each of these runners here. And Phil, I'm going to let you have the honors.
Sure, no problem. So it looks like we got Dom over there started using SolidWorks back in 2019. I'd be curious if he just went down the SolidWorks path or maybe something led him there. But outside of that is agricultural equipment manufacturing. That's great. So I think he's pretty much going to know a lot about machining like myself. Outside of that, we have Mr. Alex over there. He's been a SolidWorks since SW97.
Wow.
That is way back there.
Yo.
Still not as long as I've been alive, but we're getting close.
Wow.
But given that he said he's forgotten a few functions, I can only hope that those functions were changed into better functions.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, these guys have both been longtime friends of the channel, regular contributors on the chat in the channel. So I'm very excited to see both of them run. But as Aaron C said, I'm very sad to have to see one of them go. But at least we get to have a good show along the way. And let's get into it here with this first battle in the Elite 8, featuring Mr. Alex, our number 2 seed, against Dom, our number 10 seed. United States versus Latvia, SolidWorks versus SolidWorks. This CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? And
oh, that is a brutal one.
This is a really cool part. Aaron C, if you're out there watching, this one's for you, buddy. When I made this part, I was like, Aaron C is going to love this part. So both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture, trying to come up with a plan, and jumping into their CAD system. Let's jump over and take a look and see how they approach this thing. It's called Soap Holder. It's made of 4mm wires, and this is a cool and tricky part. This is one of these parts that there are many ways that you could do this, and I'm very interested to see how our runners approach this. Aaron C says,
you're not wrong. I'm definitely interested nonetheless, because I've already got the play in my head inside the world of Fusion.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, I'm going to stay quiet till a little later, but I think SolidWorks might have a similar function that would make this relatively easy.
Well, we're going to find out. It looks like both of our runners are getting in here with probably the same game plan, you know, looking down on this thing from the top, creating that kind of arch shape. This is one of these parts that you see around the house. You see you know, you're looking around the house, you see a part in the house, and you're like, oh, that would make a cool part for the tournament. And so here it is. Now we get to actually see it in live and see what these guys come up with. This should be labeled.
So does that mean you're going to drop a Bed Bath & Beyond link to where you could purchase one of these?
Yeah,
today?
affiliate link. JD52WTF says, this should be labeled as cruel and unusual. Why do you hate these people? Hey, man, it's not me. It's the wheel. I offload all responsibility to the wheel.
I'm really curious to see how they're going to actually do the ribbing as you move down this. And I can see one method that's already working pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, a good start from Dom on the right. You know, I think that's probably pretty obvious. If you have, you know, you have the path that something is going around and you know what the shape is, you could certainly do it with a, looks like he did that with a sweep. And I think that makes a lot of sense to do it that way. It's certainly not the only way that you could create this model, but it's one, probably the most obvious way. But now is when it gets tricky, because now the question is, how do you make that other geometry? And, you know, is one person going to come up with a different technique than the other, and is that going to make the difference in this one? I think that's what we're going to end up seeing here.
I think so completely. And again, it's just, I'm watching this and it is magical to see how somebody in SolidWorks and all the hotkeys, and I almost feel like I wish there was a way to display the hotkeys so I could keep up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most common hotkeys we use is just the letter S on the keyboard. And that's, you know, that's when that little like menu shows up next to their cursor. But there's certainly some other stuff that they're using here to, you know, to kind of speed through this geometry. JP,
yeah, 100%. And that's honestly, it's funny because in the world of Fusion, you have the same exact hotkey with a customizable menu. So you can hit S, and a lot of people don't realize you can pin whatever you want in that menu to speed up your design process.
Yes, so powerful. Such a great way to, you know, to be efficient in the software. And so now we see that it looks like Dom on the right is running into this challenge where he's trying to figure out what's the best way. Like, how do you get that sketch that he's looking at to be hooked to the original sketch that he created? And I'm sure you probably have some ideas on how to do it. I have some ideas on how to do it. The chat probably has some ideas on how to do it, but everybody's just going to wait and see what these guys come up with.
I think you're right completely. I might have to do a little Googling to see what the constraint system inside of SolidWorks is, but this is a cool thing to see where a lot of this, it really doesn't matter. And with my customers that come from Inventor to Fusion or Fusion back to Inventor, or even guys transferring in and out of SolidWorks, they realize that they're all very much similar when you get down to the simpler tools, right? Oh, he's changing things up here. I kind of like this method.
Mm-hmm. Man,
that was a nice one. I like that for sure. Looking, I got to move some things around on my screen, but definitely the way that Alex actually just window dragged, and it looks like he equaled all of those circles together.
Yep. That was clutch. I think that might have been Dom.
Oh, is that Dom?
Yep.
Oh, that's my fault. Who's going to be the first one to make the rib? Because I think that's what we're looking at to figure out.
Yeah.
Once the first one's done, all the others are easy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be, there's going to be like a, you know, there's going to be ways to kind of take this, you know, the obvious path, but then there's also going to be ways to maybe like come up with some trickery. And that's what I'm really interested in seeing, is what they come up with as far as the trickery goes.
Oh, 100%. As John said in the chat, it's crazy to think how fast these guys are pivoting when something fails, right?
Yes.
I mean, I love training people, and I tell them your goal is to fail as fast as possible so that you could succeed even faster.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow, this is just like back and forth. I'm really glad that this part came up. I was really excited, hoping this one would show up today, so...
I definitely have a creative. So I guess without seeing the drawing here, I'm assuming the tubes don't sit inside, right? All that actual grill material. It's all teed off the main D-ring, right?
Exactly. Yeah. One merged body, we would say. So they're not hollow, they're not tubes, and they're not, you know, they're not, you don't have to like cope them in or anything. You just merge them in. So.
Oh, no problem.
Yep. So just one big merged body.
One solid body or component in my world at the end of the day. But
yep, exactly. Now you could, like, if you figured out like, oh, you know, this would actually be easier if I did, you know, if I went a different route, if I made it an assembly, for example, I could actually do it easy. Like, then you could do that. I'm not saying they're going to do that with this part. I don't think this part would really benefit from that, but it is an option for any of these designs. But, you know, sometimes that presents its own pitfalls. You could end up with extra material unexpectedly because you did it as an assembly, or, you know, you could have incorrect material properties for one of the parts. Like, there's all kinds of pitfalls that come when you try to do things as assemblies.
Oh, 100%. I think that plays into a factor of the mass, does it not? At the end of the day, is having the right material on the model.
Absolutely. Yep, having the right material, which does bring up a good question. You know, we get a lot of questions from Fusion 360 users in the Too Tall Toby community, and one of those questions is, "Whoa, what the? Hold on a second. What did Dom just do there? That was unexpected." I took my.
It looks as if he's almost trying to extrude on a path or something.
Well, wow, a very interesting result there from him. This is cool to see.
I do have to say, from a model standpoint, that was pretty neat. It was almost like he took tubing and followed a lofted path up his part.
Yeah, yeah. I guess maybe he was trying to sweep using all of those circles, and because they were getting further and further away from the source, it kind of like extrapolated a larger radius for those other ones. So just like what you were saying and what John said in the chat, it's like, okay, so he tried that, it didn't work, so now what's he going to pivot to?
Correct.
Wow. Oh yeah, Connor SEC.
This is almost one of those ones you got to roll into the sudden death part, it seems like.
We'll see. We're gonna let him cook a little bit. Connor SEC in the chat says, "Love from AU. 2 SolidWorks users is a rare sight to see nowadays." There is quite a bit of variety here in these tournaments, and it's great. It used to be really heavily loaded with SolidWorks users, and now it's like almost every match is 2 different CAD systems. Last week we had 4 different CAD systems in the matches, so it's, you know, it's so cool to see all this variety.
Well, this leads me to think, though, is in the world of SolidWorks, though, you do have the ability to extrude to a face, correct?
Yep, extrude up to a face, absolutely.
Whether it be round, flat, or a curved plane?
Yep. Any geometry, just run right up to it.
All I got to say is, thankfully, this part doesn't have the old slot tool in it, right?
Yeah, no opportunity to use a slot tool, unfortunately. You know, we probably, you know, if Ricardo was in this match, he probably could have found a spot to use it, though.
I am curious to know a little bit more about what it is that Dom is using, because it looks like he's creating a path. Yeah, so it looks almost as if he started out with the concept of a pattern or being able to scale something up, and then he's had to pivot back to more of a rudimentary workflow.
Yep, exactly. One thing that I think you'll notice if you watch closely with Dom, this is something that SolidWorks has that's kind of special, although, you know, it's actually, you know what, I take it back. It looks like he's using, so what he's doing is he's creating that 2D sketch for the for that line, and then he's sweeping that circle along that 2D sketch for the line. No traditional sweep function, but there's something I'll mention at the end of this match. I don't want to mention it right now because I don't want to give away too much, but I think I saw him use something earlier.
This leads me to believe, does anybody on the actual chat side of things, have you actually finished this part at this point? Don't put the answer, of course, but yes, have you even successfully modeled it on your end?
So usually what they do in the chat when they finish it themselves is they just say, "Got it." So I noticed that Ram Bros is saying, "God, he's our Fusion 360 user for next week."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ramboros, I would love to know once we get the final of this and the answer. If you did it the way I'm thinking I would have done it.
So one question I wanted to ask you, I started asking it before, was if the I'm sorry. Every time I try to ask you this question, I get distracted. This is cool. I see that Mr. Alex is trying to do this with a sketch pattern over on the left. So that's a pretty clever way to do it too. You can maybe drop in a series of points and then have it pattern about those points. But once again, it's like this model just keeps stopping them in their tracks, keeps forcing them around. It looks like Dom finally figured out a groove to get into and just decided, you know what, I'm just going to brute force through this thing. I'm not going to get tricky or anything. I'm just going to do it. Sometimes that's what you got to do too, right? And then once you get into that groove, you start finding ways to make shortcuts during that groove as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure at some point Dom probably sat back and thought to himself, hopefully Alex gets this one right sooner than later, so I don't have to keep going.
Just praying for an end. Well, it's really cool to see how these guys kind of thought through this model. Really cool to see how they were pivoting in this model. It looks like Dom is gonna be probably coming in with an answer here. So let's see what he comes up with. Matthew Van Loo in the chat says, "What's up, Phil?" Dom coming in with an answer: 129 grams, and that is correct. And well done to Dom. Well done to Mr. Alex. What do you think, Phil? How would you have done that in Fusion? What would have been your tricky shortcut?
Well, so Rambros might be able to confirm this, but I think I would have actually did the same with the D pattern for centerline on the bottom, but I would have extruded a body upwards and made a solid and then used planes to slice my ribs, right? So I would have actually created a solid body of this finished centerline profile. Then once I split it all up, I actually could use Fusion as a pipe tool that would allow me to define all of these runners. And I say pipe, but it would have been solid. And what that would have did is give me all those ribs and then at the end, take all my bodies and join them together.
Yeah, you know, I tried something like that too. I tried creating this thing with like essentially with thin walled rectangles or squares, thinking that I could just do 4 fillets at 2 millimeters around the, you know, just fill it all off afterwards, do it all as squares and then just fill it all off afterwards. But what I ran into was that the corner fillets that are supposed to be 6 millimeters inside radius ended up becoming elliptical because of how it was like curving on the curve. And so I was like, it's not going to work either. Like I tried a lot of different ways to do this too. I did come up with a really, really cool solution in SolidWorks. I'll show you guys that in a video in the future, but I want to make sure that we give these guys time to shine here too. But I like your approach, really like your approach, Phil, saying you could use that pipe tool in Fusion. I definitely want to learn a little more about that.
Yeah, I think it just the pipe tool. I mean, even a extrude along path, but I think the technique and the method I would have used is actually use the edges of a split up solid versus creating sketch profiles. I'm actually going to fire up Fusion here real quick and see if I can do it before I
well, don't get too distracted.
Myself.
Don't get too distracted. We also, guys, we got Brian LaGrange in the chat. If you guys have a chance, give a shout out to Brian in the chat. He provided us with these amazing. I'm going to switch over to full screen for a second, Phil, while you're firing up Fusion. He provided us with these amazing Too Tall Toby stands. We got a bunch of them. We're going to be doing some giveaways. So if you guys want to give Brian a shout out in the chat, thank you again so much, Brian. These came out great. So happy with how these look. I love the little TTT on the bottom that you added on there, and these are just so cool. So thank you. And check out Mezco and their solutions. They truly bring ideas to life. Dom says, I would have used 3D sketches if I don't struggle with them so much. Yeah, I think a lot of us can struggle with 3D sketches. Mandy Shaner in the chat says, those stands are nice. Thank you, Mandy. Great to see you in here. I've known Mandy for probably longer than Great Nate 08 has been alive. That's a little callback to earlier in the episode.
I mean, not to say it and show my age, but I'm only 35.
All right, guys, let's get into it here with our next match. You know what we need to do. We need to consult the Wheel of Fate. And guys, your clairvoyance capability here is like really, really high probability, okay? This is your chance. If you want to choose your clairvoyance, this is your chance. Is it going to be 27 or 28? This is your big chance to shine here. That was a really tough model, Mr. Alex. Just to Mr. Alex and to Dom, that was a really tough model. There was definitely some trickery to that one, so don't sweat it. Shake it off. The match is still young, and it can still go either way. Shout out to Dom for winning that point, but Mr. Alex, it could definitely go either way for these next matches. And just shake it off, and let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man, I got to get my number in the chat, huh? I'm over here just playing with the technique that I thought would work, and it definitely did work.
You could say playing with your pipes.
Playing with my pipes.
Johan in the chat says, you got this, Alex. Let's go. Let's go. All right, here we go, guys.
I hope for it. I'm a big fan of the more the merrier.
Yeah, that's what I want also. All right. Here we go. On to this next matchup. All support to Latvia from Sweden. Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys, 27. Congratulations to John, to Atse, to everybody who got 27. I'm not going to read them all because I want to make sure we get into this matchup. But let's learn a little bit more about our runners. We got Mr. Alex here on the left. We got Dom on the right. Phil, maybe you could do the honors of talking a little bit more about these runners.
Awesome. So it looks like he creates music with AI, or is that Al? Reminds me of Al Bundy from Home Improvement back in the day. But AI doesn't want to help him to make 3D models. Well, I hate to be the one to sales pitch you guys. Fusion does have AI and generative design built into it.
Let's go.
But outside of that is best attempt at qualifications to the engineers at my company, and they immediately refused to participate. I could relate to that quite well. So it looks like Alex was trying to get more people on board, but maybe now that he's here, showing that they'll represent and sign up themselves.
Yes, exactly. It's very similar to what you went through when you saw Great Nate's runs.
Oh, and I did. I mean, it was until I realized that I don't think I can move that fast. Even with the $200 game and mouse I use, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we got Dom over here, and it looks like Dom has been in one Too Tall Toby tournament.
Yep.
So he's been in it, but has he won it? How far did he make?
He made it to the top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
So this is familiar ground.
Yeah, he got 4th place. He came in right behind Aaron, who got 3rd place.
That's crazy going into this. And outside of that, he's got a Quaker parrot. I've never heard of a Quaker parrot. I'm going to have to look that up, but named Bella.
Yep. Nice. Very nice. Well, guys,
I have to say, though, isn't the parrots the ones that always outlive their owners and all of that?
They do live for a long, long time. Yes. Yeah, 70, 80 years. So, yeah.
I went out to a customer site one time. We were doing some training, and they actually had a parrot in the back, and I thought it was a person because it was yelling due to the music that they always listen to, and it sounded like somebody was in the back hurt all the time. It was a pretty good day.
It's awesome. John Gamels in the chat says, wow, 0 for 5. No casinos for me this weekend. See, that we saved you money. That's the thing. We just saved you money here at Too Tall Toby. That's what we do. So, all right, guys, here we go. Let's do this. Let's get into this next match. This next battle between Mr. Alex, our number 2 seed from Latvia, running SolidWorks, and Dom, our number 10 seed from the United States, running SolidWorks. SolidWorks versus SolidWorks action. Here we go, guys. This could be Dom's chance to advance to the Final 4 for the 2nd year in a row, or this could be Mr. Alex's chance to put a stop to Dom, stop him right in his tracks. This next CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? Tolerance on this part is plus or minus 1 gram. It's a millimeter part, plain carbon steel, and it is a sheet metal part, sheet metal angled brace. So both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture. Everybody in the chat is grabbing a screen capture. They're both jumping into their 3D CAD. Let's take a look and see how these SolidWorks users approach this challenge. Dom is currently ahead 1 point to 0, but you got to win 2 points to advance to the Final 4. Both of our runners beginning on the front plane. Both of our runners creating exactly the same sketch on that front plane. I like it. I like it. Rockcrawler in the chat says, yay, sheet metal. Guys, if you like sheet metal, put a 1 in the chat for sheet metal. We love seeing these sheet metal challenges here at Too Tall Toby.
I feel like sheet metal is the only thing I cringe every time that I would have to draw something from somebody else's design.
Okay. Not something that you're doing a lot of?
It's not something I'm doing a lot of, but you have to think different when you're working with sheet metal, it seems like. You can't take the typical approach. Like, I see both of these guys going out there and using what we would call in Fusion the flange tool and kind of creating those profiles. And it's a different way. I even used to create videos on being a guy that likes off-roading. I did some cardboard templates that you bring in, but then you got a flat pattern.
That's cool.
And put it back together. And it's different when you got to worry about things folding. Let's put it that way.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's cool. So you have to like figure out what the bend allowance is for like corrugated paper or for cardboard. That's cool. I like that. I like sheet metal. I came from kind of a sheet metal background. So when I see this kind of stuff, I get really excited. And I love seeing how the runners approach these types of things. I like Dom. Look at Dom. He cut out that corner, and then he decided to edit that sketch and add that center cut as well so he can just include it all in that one sketch. That was a pretty smart pivot right there.
No, I love that technique. I tell people that all the time in your timeline. I mean, if you're looking at a 2D view and you think just X, Y, you could put a lot of things in a sketch without having to have a lot of sketches.
And speaking of sketch techniques, do you notice what feature Dom just used there in his sketch?
I don't even want to talk about it.
None other than our old friend, the slot tool. We love the slot tool. Yeah, it's something that really, like, I realized after watching all these pro runners, like, how much I was underutilizing that tool.
I'm not gonna lie. After being, a part of this and being a co-host, I think I'm kind of obligated to back up some of my talk now and make a few videos on some of these parts. I gotta prove my credibility.
Well, you know what? I think what we'll end up doing is you and I will be working together some more, and we'll do some collaboration together. We could do some live streams where you and I are maybe like going head to head, modeling these things, like you in Fusion and me in SolidWorks, and we could talk about the similarities and the differences. I think something like that the audience would really like.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, then we're gonna have to go head to head. You doing Cam, but don't worry, I'll help you along the way.
Oh yeah, I'm in. Well, I'm not as fast as these guys. I'm just the guy who puts this stuff together. I get all the time in the world to put it together. These guys are the wizards.
Hey, I agree completely. After all the years of training people, it's like, man, I'm going to show you how to build a doghouse, and then you're going to go figure out how to build a real house, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
I love nothing more than helping somebody out and going, wait a minute, how did you do that? Like that, I've never seen that or ever thought to do it that way, right?
Yep. So Dom, looking at that sketch there, looks like he had a misplaced midpoint relationship, but he was able to figure out what it was. He grabbed a blue point and moved it around. Always good to know how to troubleshoot. And now we see he's creating an edge flange coming off of that relief area. We see Mr. Alex on the left has almost the exact same geometry and also creating that exact same edge flange at the exact same time. So cool. Two different users, two different parts of the world, both creating the same feature at the same time. Very, very cool.
It's definitely a very interesting approach when you consider how they're able to create those reliefs much deeper in the part than the standard reliefs would have been. But I'm almost curious too, knowing what Fusion can do. You could have kind of done that flange without it and then extended your reliefs.
Yeah, the problem is as the game master, the problem is I can't use the standard relief because the standard's going to be different for the different CAD systems. So I have to go in and put an oversized one in there just so that I can define it, and also so you can see the dimensions on the print. There's some interesting challenges you come into when you're creating the prints.
We might have to work together on seeing if we can come up with a standardized sheet metal template for everybody.
Yeah, that's actually, I do have a question on that, which I'm going to ask at the end of the live stream to you. The most common question people told me to ask you, knowing you were coming on the show. So we'll save it though, because I feel like these guys are getting really close.
Yeah, you're going to get put on the spot here.
Yeah, they said Fusion Phil's coming on the show. You got to ask him about this.
Oh no! Oh no!
So we see here Dom on the right creating this slotted cut up at the top. Mr. Alex on the left already has that slotted cut, already has those fillets in his model. So this is really neck and neck. They may be kind of coming down to the final feature at the same time here with this final hole. We see it looks like Dom is opting to use the Ivan exploit for the location of that hole. And we're going to keep an eye on the chat here. We're going to be seeing an answer coming in here any moment. And that answer coming from Dom is 497 grams. And guys, we have a Final Four winner here in Dom from the United States. Congratulations, Dom. You have achieved victory. You're back in the Final Four again. Mr. Alex, hot on his heels, was just finishing up that same feature. And wow, guys, what a match. What an awesome matchup from these guys. I love that Dom was able to get an Ivan exploit in there in the end as well. Congratulations to both of our runners, and what a great match from these guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and wow. This was awesome. That was a great run from both of those runners. Both of those runs, really all of our runners today. We had some awesome runs from everybody today. Whoops.
I mean, at this point, you might have the actual Alex exploit if I've seen it. Instead of putting two ears in the right direction, he's got two separate directions.
One down, one up. I like it. Yeah, that could be the Alex exploit. I like it. The Mr. Alex exploit. Wow. That was awesome. Good job, guys. Good job to everyone. Phil, I do want to ask you this question, but don't forget, guys, put a GG in the chat. Put a like in the chat. If anybody has to leave, I understand if you got to leave, and that's okay. But my question for you, Phil, is what's the deal with Fusion templates? Can you make templates in Fusion? Can you set up like a material and a unit system, or do you always have to go in and manually change it?
So by template system, not so much off the start, but you do have the ability to set your defaults. I guess I would need to see a little bit more into what you're looking for, because I did see both these guys go in and just say, hey, grab this template and go.
Exactly.
Now, it's always different in every CAD software, or CAD software, I should say. And I'll dig into that more. And the great thing with Fusion is, though, is somebody like Great Nate might have already built an API for you guys.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, cool, guys. Well, listen, I want you guys to make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you share and reshare. Make sure you go to tootalltoby.com. Sign up for a free account. You can go through and you can do the practice models at tootalltoby.com. If you're really enjoying what you're seeing here, you can support us with some financial support. You can give us some value for value. If you're getting value out of this channel, send some value back. That can come in a lot of different ways, but if it's financial, here's some good websites you can use. tootalltoby.com/donate. Of course, also visit tootalltoby.com/training so that you can sign up for training. That's really a great way to help support the channel. Talk to your bosses, talk to your engineering managers and say, hey, we should get some SolidWorks training. You know, let's visit tootalltoby.com/training. Let's sign up with this guy. This guy's a good guy. Let's send some business his way. I want to say thank you to all of you in the chat. You are indeed the most amazing chat ever. I want to say thank you so much to all of our sponsors for this tournament, SolidBox, 3D Connection, SpokeB.com, and Fuse, and a special shout out to Mezco as well and to Brian. And thank you to our super fans, Bob Evans and Victor K. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you. Next week, we got Titanium, our Inventor Pro, going up against Chris B. Co., our SolidWorks Pro. And we got Ram Bros, our Fusion 360 Pro, going up against Otse, our SolidWorks Pro. And next week, we're going to be on Friday, October 4th for the tournament. It's going to be really good. I can't wait to see who else makes it into the Final Four. And we're also going to go live this Monday for Model Monday Live. So if you guys want to tune in on Monday for Model Monday Live, that is your chance as well. And Phil, I want to say thank you so much for being such a great co-host. It was awesome having you in here. Thanks for all your insights about Fusion.
Well, thank you also for having me. I hope I can come back sometime soon. And now I'm actually extra pumped because there might be 3 Autodesk products in the finals.
I know. It's incredible. It's incredible. You got any final advice for anybody who's out there who's looking to get a little bit better at Fusion 360?
Yeah, by all means, you guys can reach out to me directly. I believe down in the actual description of this video, you should see a link to my website. But also know I'm also inside of the Discord channel. Yeah. And you can reach me there. You can reach me through my YouTube channel. There's no shortage on how you can get a hold of me.
What's your Discord name?
Well, so I do play games on it, but it should be Fusion Phil inside of your channel.
Nice. All right, good. Good. So easy to find him. You can hang out in the Discord, guys. We can ask any questions you have about these models, about the tournament. A lot of the tournament runners hang out in the Discord too, so you can hang out with them and you can ask them any questions. Overall, I just want to say thank you so much, Phil. Thank you so much to all of you out there. This is such a great way to end the week, such a great way to roll into the weekend. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Hopefully, we'll see you live this Monday in Model Monday Live. And guys, everybody have a good weekend. Be safe out there. See you, everybody.